Karibuni to Aromo Zanzibar's kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you how I make this creamy, delicious, rich mango kulfi. And it is very, very simple to make. This is the most simplest dessert you'll ever make. Alright, so I've used about 2 medium-sized mangoes and I've cut them into pieces like that. Then I measured them into this cup. So I got about 2 cups. You can use between 1 cup, 1.5 cups to 2 cups, and then puree it and keep it on the side. Now in this pan, I'm going to boil the milk, and I've used 2 cups of milk. That's whole milk. That's 500 milliliters, and you want to bring this to a boil and also occasionally keep stirring to avoid it sticking at the bottom. So once it comes to a boil like that, you're going to stir it and then reduce the heat and let it simmer. Now we're doing a reduction method. This will take a bit some time. So keep stirring after every 4 or 5 minutes and until you get your milk reduced to about 1/3. And please make sure you use whole milk because we're trying to get the cream here. The creamier the milk, the better the kulfi is. All right, so this is what I've got. It's 1/3. Now I'm adding a little bit of salt and cardamom powder, about 1 teaspoon. You can add more or less. Half a cup of sugar and few strands of saffron. Now I'm using cooking cream. You can use Nestle cream, or you can use condensed milk, or you can also add half a cup of powdered milk. Okay, we need this to be as creamy as it can be. So I've used the cooking cream. That's about half a cup. Please do not use heavy whipping cream for this, because when you bring this to a hard boil, it will curdle. If you decide to use powdered milk, please mix it with half a cup of liquid milk. All right, I did make a mistake of adding the nuts ahead of time. I forgot that I was going to blend this. So I used about 2 slices of white bread. Now there is an option where you can use cornstarch. You can use 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, mix it with some milk, and remove the lumps before you add it into a hot mixture. Now the bread does help to absorb any kind of moisture or water, so that way your kulfi is nice and creamy and you do not get any kind of icicles. So yes, I did add more nuts. I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, just keep stirring for about let it cook for about a minute or so. And if you wish to add your mango puree, you can do so. Now adding the mango puree here is not really necessary, but I'm just used to doing it. But you can just blend it together with the creamy mixture without cooking it. Okay, so you see how nice and thick and creamy it is, and it smells amazing. You can also adjust the sugar according to your needs at this point too. And then you want to let it cool and blend it, or you can blend it while it's still hot. It's up to you. All right, so once we have blended, you can use this kind of kulfi containers, or you can use a popsicle molds, or if you want, you can use a container like this. It's actually a lunch box. It can be glass or it can be plastic, however you like it. But please make sure that the lid is very nice and secure, so that it does not allow any air. And we're going to add more nuts, so we can, okay, since I blended those. Okay, make sure that the lid is nice, or you can put foil before you close it. Okay, so once it's cooled, now I'm ready to put it in the freezer. You see, I've got a nice beautiful lid that I'm gonna close it and keep it in the freezer for about 6 hours. Now we kept ours for overnight and opened it on Thursday morning around 10 o'clock. I actually had this for breakfast. All right, so it's nice and firm. And in this bowl over here, I've got some hot water. I'm just going to place the container. It's not touching the hot water. I just want the steam to release the sides and the bottom. You can also use a hairdryer. Then we're just going to cut this into pieces. You don't have to take it all out. You can just take the amount that you want. And it's hard, but because it's frozen, it's not icicle hard where it's difficult to slice. Now, as far as I know, kulfi is from India. I used to have it in India. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they usually serve them in those little clay pots, and they're very, very beautiful. I used to collect a lot of those. I was crazy about them. Now we're just going to release from the sides, and I did not have a small size serving plate, so I'm just gonna put it in the cake plate, and that's it. It's nice and beautiful and melted, but we want to see the top, so we're just gonna flip it and see the beautiful side that has the nuts. And you can make, this is Malai kulfi actually, so you can actually use the same recipe without using the mangoes. Okay, if you want it just like that, and use any kind of nuts that you have. And for those of you who don't have saffron, you're missing out a lot, but you still can have a beautiful kulfi without saffron. All right, but don't forget the cardamom. All right. Okay, so we're just going to serve this. You can have it as a dessert, or you can have it any time of the day. Like I mentioned, I had it for breakfast. It was 42 degrees Celsius. That's 105 degrees Fahrenheit at 10 o'clock in the morning. Who wouldn't want to have ice cream? All right, so it's just can't wait to have it. As you can see, and as usual, you'll find all the ingredients and the measurements in the description box below. We're going to drizzle some pistachios and some dried rose petals just to have some beautiful colors. And you can see our kulfi is nice and beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next video, inshallah.